I want to do something a little different. I want to make a little story about where I came from, how I got to the point of being the size that I was, the hardships that I faced, and what it took for me to change those aspects of my life, where it's brought me today, and where I'm at now. My childhood was pretty rough. I was born in, I believe, Plano, Texas, and I was kind of swapped around my from my parents to my grandparents. I think for a long time we all lived in the same house, mom, dad, grandparents, and then divorce happened. My dad ended up in prison, and my mom couldn't take care of us, so we ended up with our grandparents for a while. Then we got put into a children's home. And I say we, I mean me and my brother. We did have a sister, but we didn't know about her yet. We wouldn't find out about her until we were probably, I was 18 when we found out about her. But after the children's home, I had ran away from the children's home. And there were a few other events that happened. Uh, my dad ended up getting out of prison. I moved in with him, but he ended up kicking me out. And then I think from the time I was 16 on, I started living on my own. I lived in a tent down by the river. And then I lived in a vehicle for a while. Then I lived like in this little shack. Uh, and when I say this, like I was way out in the country, so as a young kid, I guess it was kind of fun at the time. But I lived in this little shack thing, and I slowly um, started trying to crawl out of that. I got in a relationship really early, and I married my high school sweetheart. Was married to her for 12 years, and when I finally was able to go to school for animation, I went to college for it in Florida. And by the time I was ready to graduate, we got a divorce. And that crushed me. But then I was truly on my own because my grandparents had passed away and my mom had passed away. Everyone basically was gone. It was down to me and my sister. I have a cousin too that's like a sister that I keep close contact with. During this whole time, I was extremely overweight. I was always a big fat kid. Um, Grew to be a big fat adult, and I just couldn't get on top of all of that. I suffered from depression and anxiety, many other issues mentally, I believe, and nothing that I went to the doctor, to evaluate, but they were there for sure. Um, but I struggled with my weight, and that really added to everything. I mean, I really believe that people were more negative towards me because of my weight. And now that I've lost weight, I believe that more now than ever before. Um, it's hard, and I get it. I get it. Like even when I would try to apply for jobs, I mean, when you're a big sloppy guy, it's hard for your average person to look past that. And I don't hold anything against people for being that way because it is a good way to. It's not a good way, but it is a way that people will give a first opinion on what they think you're capable of. Anyways, so I struggled through all that, but I did go to school for college, animation, and at that time I had a son. Uh, I had a son that was, I guess, around 4 or 5 while I was in college. This ended a 12-year relationship and a 10-year marriage. Because that's when the divorce happens right before I was about to graduate. And that sent me spiraling through depression because I wasn't wanting a divorce. Uh, just kind of, that's how I ended up. we grew apart. There's nothing more I could really do about that. Um, so at that moment in time, I really wanted someone to fill that hole because I had no family, and I had been with this girl since I was 16, and I was 27, 28 by the time the divorce started. So that was rough, and I didn't know what to do. So I was grasping at straws. I was overweight at the time, but what ended up happening was I quit eating, just stopped. And I started doing cardio. I would jog. It wasn't something I was built for, but I did become obsessive. I want to say I jogged at least 12 or 16 miles a day, but I know for a fact it was at least 12 miles a day. When I say jogged, I mean I jogged straight. I wouldn't stop. I was pretty obsessed with it, and I lost weight during that time. I lost hair, I lost strength, I lost vision. I had lost a lot of stuff during that time, but I was really focused on losing the weight because I thought that's why this person was leaving me. Uh, so I got fairly thin, and I mean, massive calorie restrictions. And if I did eat, I would normally vomit it back up. So I was in that mindset. I eventually found someone else, and right before I found this other person, like I had started other things. Like I had started paleo. I instantly gained weight back when I did that, like a lot of weight, because my body just wasn't used to eating. But anyways, and I found someone really quick because I didn't want to be alone. And long story short, I gained all my weight back. I had injured my hand. I had lost this hand at one point. I don't know if it picks up. Anyways, there's a scar that goes all the way around. And they had to take the tendons from down here to put back here. I don't have that little sleeve that holds your tendons, and I can't bend my wrist. I can bend it up, kind of, but not down. I can move my fingers, though. That happened at work. I had a big piece of glass come down on it and just chop all the tendons off, and went like halfway through my joint. Uh, but when that happened, I ended up gaining like the rest of my weight at that point because it took me out of the gym for over a year. And then I just developed bad eating habits again. And of course, that was going to happen. And then, I ended up with my second wife. We had a child together, and that changed everything because it stopped me in my career path because my wife at the time was a nurse. She made a lot more money than I did. She also had insurance. And we found out that Lincoln was autistic and nonverbal. And it just really kind of pushed us in a position where someone had to be home, and that someone ended up being me. And I did that. I started my own like little side business so I could work from home and watch him. It was woodworking. I did some really nice stuff, I think. It wasn't really like bringing home the bacon or anything, but it was some extra income. We were struggling. We had a house payment. We had all kinds of stuff going on. Plus, all three of our kids because she had a girl, and then I also had my oldest son, and we'd have them all the time. So it's a lot of work. I ended up getting up to 300 and I think 60 pounds during this time. Doctor told me I was pre-diabetic. I had sleep apnea. I couldn't sleep. I found out I had fatty liver. Had no sex drive. Couldn't even get it up really. I mean, this is before my 40s. This is like I was somewhere in my upper 30s. All this going on, and I was just steadily gaining weight and losing feeling, like waist down. I was losing feeling, and how much time we got? Oh, okay, we got to do 10 minutes, but it was a lot, and this one ended up in a divorce, and this divorce was horrible because this one the person I was married to. Remember, I married very quickly, right after my second, because I needed somebody, I thought. And this one, well, she wasn't the sanest person, and I was willing to overlook a lot of those traits, and I saw them early on. I was able to overlook them. I really didn't know any better because I'd only been with one person before that, and we were together since I was 16. Like, she was like my first girlfriend. So, I had a lot of allegations thrown at me. Well, I didn't even know the divorce was really going to happen until all this stuff was thrown at me one day. I was kicked out of the house because of these allegations. And every time I go to court, there were more allegations being thrown at me, and I had to wait for everything to be processed till we went back to court the next time. Before during this time, couldn't go back to my house, and I couldn't see my son. So that was like 3 months of that. And by the time I was able to go back to the house and see my son, most of my stuff was gone. All my old artwork, and I had a lot of tools, and most of everything was pretty much gone. I We had this weird system to where we had to split the house 50-50, and on the weeks I'd have it a week, she'd have it a week. Same with Lincoln. That was hard. That was horrible. Plus, so I had to make payments there and onto where I was living, new house. I don't even know how I did that. Plus, I was paying for my attorney fees. All that to say, I got massively in debt, like 30 something $1,000 in debt. Attorney fees. Plus getting behind on everything else. Uh, so the divorce is all said and done. I finally get a place, and I go in and out of having vehicles because I just couldn't keep. Because every time I get a vehicle, I ended up flipping it to make money. Because I was driving a tow truck, flipping that vehicle to make money to pay for attorney and everything else. And here I am today, and I had started carnivore 17 months ago. I stayed single that whole time because after that divorce, I was done, completely done. I couldn't deal with people anymore. But I was knocking on death's door. I really was, like, and I actually had no problem with that. I actually was hoping that I just wouldn't wake up. Like, I would eat enough pizza that night and eat enough crap that I go to sleep and wouldn't wake up. That was actually my goal. And but I had sat down. I was having a hard time breathing, heart palpitations, and I thought I was going to that night. And I was like, "Oh crap! I just got Lincoln. I'm going to have him for a full week. If I die tonight, he'll be stuck in his house, and no one will know for at least a week, at least, because no one contacted me. I didn't like. There was no one I was seeing or anything like that." And that scared me because he wouldn't know. He wouldn't even know I was dead or if I was asleep. He wouldn't know any of that stuff, and he would just be stuck in his house, and it would become a nightmare. So that thought scared me, and then I thought, you know what? I needed to do something about that. And I was like, there's just no way I can do the calorie restriction. I honestly thought that was the only way I was going to be able to lose weight because it's the only thing that ever worked before. And honestly, that's why I just wanted to not breathe anymore, because the thought of me having to do calorie restrictions my whole life while everybody else gets to go out there and enjoy their meals, and I just have to eat like a fucking lettuce. Uh, and it just never made sense to me because I was such a big guy. I knew I was a strong guy. I was like, why do I have to eat so little? Me being the size that I am, it made no sense to me. It was depressing, and but I luckily came across carnivore, and uh, I was really doing it to get rid of sugar. Um, I needed to get rid of sugar because I was diabetic at this point, but um, I was right in the first stages of it, and I had lost feeling, like I said, in my toes, waist down. I always forget to mention that, like there were other sections of me that were losing feeling. But I started it, and I think by my second week, I was blown away because my health results were the first things that I was really noticing. I mean, I was losing weight. I expected. Well, honestly, I didn't expect to lose weight because the entire time I felt like I was cheating because I didn't do any restrictions on calories because I knew I couldn't. Um, and I just wanted to get rid of the sugar stuff. So I was eating a lot of bacon and eggs and ground beef. Sorry. Um, it felt like I was cheating. And I kept going and it kept working. And then one day I was at 17 months and I had lost over 120 pounds. I started looking pretty good. I started feeling really good. I started having really great health results. And that was probably been my biggest achievement in my life at this point. But it's not over because three things going on. One, I'm right at the I'm right now as we sit. Probably by the time you watch this, I would have, but I'm about to lose my place of where I live. Uh, I lost my job over a month ago, and I knew this was coming. But I have been trying to get my own business started for over a year, and we had some promises. A lot of empty promises happened, um, but we took a different approach this time. Instead of going directly to GMs, we went through the sides. We're using private people to bring us in to these cemeteries so we can do the blasting. And now they're starting to call out, but it's all too little, too late because I summed it up, and I need like $6,000 yesterday because I am months behind on everything that would allow me to be months behind on. And my rent here is they're done with it, and I don't blame them. I can't. There's nothing more I can do about it. But the thing is, I don't even have a place to move from here, so I'm freaking out. I have work that needs to be done, but then this cold front blows through, and we can't blast when it's this cold because the stencil won't stick to the headstones. So and then I had my car towed. Uh, that was an expense I couldn't make. And right before that, I flipped my truck. Like, it's just things keep piling up. And son's school has hit me up for another $2,000, and I don't have it. And I think I'm gonna start losing my hair. I'm out here asking for help because I don't know what else to do. But two, I want to show people that it doesn't matter how shitty life is. Like, you can still take control of certain aspects of it. And no matter how much I've lost control over, my financial situation, uh, I was able to take control of my health. And then just imagine if I had this piled on top of my own health and just not feeling good about myself. I probably would have outed myself. To tell you the truth, completely honest, I probably would have outed myself by now. I was there already. But um, that's all that I've been able to accomplish in my 42 years on this earth. I think it'll get better, a lot better. The business will start moving forward. Great thing about this business is we don't really have any competition. It's just getting in, and it's been hard. But I'm this close. And if I could just get on top of the bills that I'm on right now, the work is right around the corner. Like, it's already set up. It's just I'm about to lose everything right now, and it's like I said before, too little, too late. So I'm gonna leave a GoFundMe in the link down below, and if any of you guys could please help me out, I really would appreciate it. I really don't want to do this. I didn't want to turn any of my videos into any way to really make any money or anything. Because I did this for myself, these videos to record myself, put it out there, and then it started helping people, and I fed off of that, and I like that. But if I didn't try going out fighting as hard as I can, then I didn't try very hard. And this is one of the attempts at me fighting as hard as I can to not lose everything. So once again, there will be a GoFundMe in the link below. And if you guys could spare anything, I'd really appreciate you. Um, Also, I'd like to do more of these videos, but with everything going on, that's hard. It's actually impossible. Um, as far as some good news, my son's mom had agreed to do some carnivore with Lincoln, though she hasn't stuck with anything yet. She had agreed before and then just pulled off of it. But I think eventually she will fully commit, and I really think we'll see some good stuff out of that. And speaking of which, uh, he may or may not be able to go into ABA much longer, mostly because I can't afford to pay the bill that they have for me right now. But it's too much driving around school, ABA, and feeding therapy and everything. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to pull him out of something. And but I don't even know if ABA is really working for him anymore. I don't like the public school system, but it's all I've really got at this moment of time. Other good news is my business is starting to move, just not fast enough. And it allowed me to build a lot of debt. So that's unfortunate. And I had been going to the gym consistently for over a month, consistently. And I had built really good muscle. Now I had stopped because I couldn't afford the gym membership anymore. So for like the last 4 days, I haven't gone. But for a solid month, I did go, and I did see some really great results, and I'll post that. And another big one, me trying to cut corners on any expenses that I have. And one of them is I quit dipping. Today will be day 2. It is the hardest thing. If you can see in my face, I have no energy because I used to dip 4 cans a day. And that's probably at least $600 a month, at least, that I was spending. And I wouldn't be surprised if my arteries aren't as hard as rocks at this point, because 4 cans of snuff, I think, is the equivalent of 4 cartons of cigarettes in nicotine. And I think that's it, guys. I appreciate everyone that's followed me and everyone that's supported me. I hope everyone has challenges that they get to overcome and have overcome, and I hope no one's really facing the challenges that a lot of us are facing right now. But I appreciate everyone, and that's it for now, guys. Thanks for watching. Hugs and kisses. Bye, guys.